The bears engulf the bulls as the market turns on a dime. Is the pain over? This is Invest with Jacob. Okay, guys, so in yesterday's video, we talked about the fact that even though they pushed through the pivot and shifted us toward our bullish perspective, the downside was likely not over as we were looking for a turn down in C, and that's exactly what we saw. The market turned on a dime and dropped the entire day, and now the bears look to be testing last week's lows. I'll get into that in just 1 second, but first, if you're new here, welcome to the show, guys. My name is Jacob Gabbard, and this is Invest with Jacob, where we use Elliott Wave Theory to break down the SP 500 and the NASDAQ. I highly encourage you to hit that subscribe button down below so that you can get our daily S&P updates, our trade setups, and our buy alerts. All right, guys, we will talk about it later in the video, but our live room is where I give out all of our live market updates. As you can see on the screen, it helps so many traders do well in the market and understand the market and be able to trade it profitably. So if you want to be part of that winning team, stay tuned for later in the video. But for now, let's jump into the chart and take a look. Okay, guys, so here we are on the 1-hour futures chart for the S&P 500. And as we talked about yesterday, the move up off of this low went back through the pivot, which does shift our perspective more toward the bullish count. But as I said yesterday, the bears are not done. And there's a couple reasons why. First would be the expectation of the ABC that we talked about yesterday, where this move down was A. We looked for a bounce in B, which we got, and then the C wave down, which it appears to be starting. Now, the question is this going to be the C wave down, or is this the B wave of this B wave? And that's going to be determined. But right now, as it stands, the bears are pushing on kind of the last level, that 764 retrace area. And if they break through that 4381 level and continue to push below that, then it becomes much more likely we're going to go ahead and start to attack these lows. And then from there, I'd look for a little bit of a bounce. If this is going to be the C wave down, it targets around 4200 overall. And that would be at the very bottom of the bullish pivot. So the bulls are going to need to hold that level to keep this bullish perspective that we have intact. Now, one thing I would look for, okay, instead of just C down towards 4200, and that's not going to go in a straight line, guys. We're not going to drop another 180 points in a straight line. You're going to likely see, these kind of moves in 5 waves because it is a C wave. But one thing I would look for is a bounce off of about this low, maybe a little bit lower, and then a spike, and then a 3-wave low into that 4200 area, 4250 to 4300 area, I should say, for this one, 42 to 4300 area. That would be an ABC down for 5 to give us a leading diagonal off of the highs. Now, leading diagonals are not reliable. Diagonals in general are not reliable. They're not something I count on. So before I would get super happy about that being a move down if I was bearish, I would want to see one more thing, which is a ABC up, and it should be a very, very strong retrace. If it is a diagonal, that's typically what you see back toward the origination point, which would be right up here in this 45.25 area. We would look for a pretty strong retrace and 3 waves up, and then an impulsive move to the downside. That would be the bearish scenario if the bears are going to try to take back overall control of the market and not just give us a C wave down. The primary right now remains that we are in C down, and that C wave, as I said, we have A and B, and the C wave down tracks to about 4200 from where we are right now. So it is possible that we need a little bit higher of a red B wave. So I could see, with Powell speaking tomorrow as a catalyst, I could see us move down, give us a bounce up, and then come back down and break that low over the next week or so in that C wave that would take us closer to 4300. But currently we target 4200 if they do continue directly to the downside. So basically the level to watch first is 4381, which they are basically at right now, trying to hold it. If they can continue to push through that level, it does become more likely we are either in the C wave down or we are in an ABC down for this wave 5 in that diagonal count, where you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside. And here I'll draw that with the thing. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that would be the leading diagonal. And again, the hallmark of that would be a very strong retrace back over 4,500 in 3 waves, and then another move down from there. Over on the NASDAQ, Okay, on the NASDAQ, we had talked about a diagonal on this move down originally because of this choppy start up here, the overlap we got. And we had this blue target box on here for weeks. They came up and hit that target box, which is where we expected them to come up to before they dropped, and now they're dropping on the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ has basically the same issue as ES, where this move down does target just below 14,000, and 14,000 is really where they need to hold to keep this wave 4 intact and then come back up and then move to the all-time highs. So if they're going to come back to all-time highs, they really need to hold the 14,000 or above area. Breaking below that becomes problematic for the bulls. We have the same types of situation on the NASDAQ. You could count NASDAQ. I had it counted as 5. It's just really not a clean structure, regardless of how you look at it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is possible that this is a wave 2. If that was the case, you'd look for a 1, 2, and then break down like that in an impulsive way that would go much past this 14,000 area. So if we see 14,000 break, we can obviously know that we're in that bigger wave 3 to the downside. So a couple possibilities for the NASDAQ are, yes, we can bounce up in the higher part of this box, which would raise this level down here up to where you would want it to be for the bullish pivot. So that is definitely a potential. But pushing through where they are right now, 14,810, the 764, where they're basically sitting, pushing through that does make that less likely, as typically once you push through the 764, you break this low or come down into minimum and challenge that low, which would be not impossible for a B wave, but certainly not standard. So that is a possibility. Obviously, the possibility that we're in one of C down, and we'd look for this full C wave down to the 14,000 area. And then the other two bearish possibilities being the diagonal count, much like ES, where you'd get a B wave bounce and a C down. Or you'd get a 1-2 setup and a breakdown that breaks down below this 14,000 level, which would be a very strong sign that the bears are in control of the market. So I realize that seems like a lot, but really it's all targeting the same area, the 14,000 area. The biggest question is, do we bounce first back up into this blue box higher, or do we come directly down? I do favor directly down based on the move today, where we're at and getting ready to push through this 764. But because it targets so low, it's not impossible for us to bounce back up into this blue box one more time. Guys, if you love the information that I put out in these videos and you want real-time market updates from me, you need to check out investwithjacob.com. There's a link down in the description. Go ahead and click that link. It will take you right over to the website. Once you're there, check out our membership plans area. We have 2 incredible monthly plans, and they both come with a 7-day free trial. Because I want you to get in there, I want you to make sure you love it and become part of the trading team before you ever spend a penny. You can cancel at any time. We also have our Elliott Wave for Beginners course. This course is helping traders fully understand the market on a day where Nvidia crushes earnings and gets sold off all day, where the news doesn't matter, but Elliott Wave does. It gives you targets and lets you understand when and how to confirm those targets, and it's helping traders make money and understand the market instead of deciphering the news cycles. It's 25 videos in 3 parts where I go over the introduction, how to set up get your mindset and emotion right, use the KISS method and why it works, the chart setup and tools where I go through every single tool you need to use along with Elliott Wave Theory to confirm the path, as well as the Elliott Wave for Beginners course where I go through all 5 waves and the corrective waves as how they work, how they confirm, where we know the targets are, and when they fail. This course is designed for people to understand Elliott Wave at a beginning level and will give you a grasp of the market and why it moves the way it does. The really cool part is it is included in both rooms. In the first room, the Invest with Jacob room, you get all of my real-time market updates, all of my buy and sell alerts, all of your Elliott Wave questions answered, a midday video where I go over exactly where we are in the counts and what to expect, as well as the training material you just saw. We trade the SPY and the QQQ, and we swing trade, which means our trades can last anywhere from a few days to a few months, so we don't trade quite as often as a day trading room does. However, if you are looking for day trading as well as individual stocks, you need to check out PT's Throne Room. In there, you get everything you get in the Invest with Jacob room, as well as day trading, individual stocks, and PT's reduced risk binary method that absolutely crushes the market. It's something you kind of have to see to understand, and that's another reason we give you that 7-day free trial. He also started a challenge account where he put $4,000 into an account trading mini ES futures, showing you how to build a small account into a large retirement or savings account. Guys, we would love to have you in these rooms so we can all make money together. Okay, key takeaways for today. We are sitting at the breaking point on ES. If we see continued move down, it is much more likely we're going to challenge and break this low in the C wave down towards 4,200. If, however, we can get a 3-wave bounce to the downside that looks a little bit more like the diagonal playing out, that would be confirmed with a sharp retrace back up to the 4520 level and then down from there. Over on the NASDAQ, as they push down into this 764, it does make it more likely we are looking at the C wave already starting, which would target around 14,000. However, we can get that ABC down for a diagonal finish, or potentially even that 1-2 count for the bullish or bearish path to the downside. It is possible we do one more bounce up into the blue box to raise the target of this C wave, as it is very low and lower than the pivot should be. But as we press down, it does not look like that is going to be the case. Guys, that is your market update for today. I will talk to you tomorrow.